Presenting radio's foremost laboratory of writing and production techniques, the Columbia Workshop, coming to you today from Hollywood. Since it first went on the air 10 years ago last month, the Columbia Workshop has constantly sought to introduce new talent to radio broadcasting and to persuade established artists in other fields to lend their creative talents to radio. Today, in presenting The Path in the Door, a psychological experiment, the Columbia Workshop achieves both aims. The Path in the Door is the first radio play by Les Crutchfield, a young man who before the war was an explosives engineer and who, feeling that the world has seen enough of explosives in the last few years, now devotes his entire time to writing. The musical score, which is such an integral part of the play you're about to hear, was written by George Antheil, who has been one of the most controversial figures in modern music for the past 20 years. Mr. Antheil has many other interests besides music, however, one of them being psychology. One reading of Mr. Crutchfield's script persuaded him to write this, his first radio score. And today, the Columbia Workshop welcomes back one of the many prominent members of its acting alumni, in the person of Elliott Reed, featured Paramount player, whom you will hear as Johnny in Les Crutchfield's The Path in the Door, with original score composed by George Antheil.
I remember it was night and dark. And then there was this path, and I was walking along it. It led through some trees, a lot of trees, like a woods or a forest. Sometimes I'd be in a patch of moonlight, but mostly it was dark. Thick bushes grew all around, along the sides of the path, so it made it like an aisle winding off through the woods. And I kept on walking, all alone, just thinking and walking. Slowly. I remember that because I knew where I was going. I knew that somewhere at the other end of this path was the door. It was along about then I first started hearing that voice, or at least, well, I thought I did. It came from off in the dark somewhere. I stopped, stood there listening, staring into the black night. Even the rustle of leaves seemed to stop. The wood was very still.
What's the matter, Johnny? Hearing things?
Yeah, that voice. Didn't you hear it?
Yes. Yes, I heard it.
Wait. Now listen.
No. It's gone now, Johnny.
Gone? But you haven't gone.
No. That's right.
Did you come with it?
Yes.
I wasn't surprised to hear that voice. Mocking, cynical. I suppose I expected it. Yet all the time, of course, I was really alone. Alone there on the path.
Where are you going, Johnny?
You know where I'm going.
All right. Don't get mad about it. The door,
Of course. Where else?
Ah, yes. The path through the woods and the door at the end of it.
What are you doing here?
You know. Just waiting for you to come along the path.
Well, you're wasting your time.
I do wish you wouldn't be so irritable.
Irritable? Ha!
What's bothering you, Johnny? It wouldn't be the door, would it?
Of course not. I want to go through the door.
Well, it surely can't be the path.
Look, I'm late. I've got to hurry. Anyway, I don't want to listen to you.
You're being very discourteous, you know. Of course, you're probably afraid.
That's a lie. I'm not afraid.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. I'm not afraid.
All right. Now, if you try to keep calm, I'll show you something. Over here.
I don't want to see anything.
Oh, don't be so unfriendly. Come along. It's right behind the bushes.
But I don't...
Now, look. Through here.
It's a ballroom. And they're dancing inside. That terrace. Why, I know that. It's the country club.
Will you please be quiet?
But what's it doing here?
Never mind. Look. There's a couple coming out on the terrace.
Why, that's...
Quiet.
That's...
Listen.
Boy.
They're talking.
Boy, it's kind of hot in there. I thought maybe... Well, maybe you'd like some fresh air.
That was awfully sweet and thoughtful of you, Johnny.
Oh, gosh. Anybody'd be that way with you.
Johnny.
Well, it's the truth. Oh, I think about you all the time. And I don't know any other girl even 1% as swell as you.
Oh, you're just saying that. Well, I'm not really different from any other girl.
Oh, yes, you are. When nobody can even compare with you. And... Well, that's not all.
It isn't?
No. Besides all that, I'm...
Yes, Johnny.
I'm in love with you.
Oh, Johnny.
I've been in love with you all summer. But I was scared to tell you. I was scared that... Well, I guess it doesn't make any difference. I guess you don't feel the same way. Not like I do, I mean.
Why don't you ask me if I do?
Gee whiz. You don't mean maybe you could be in love with me.
Oh, gosh, I've been thinking all summer that you didn't even notice me.
Oh, darling, how could you think that?
Oh, you acted like you didn't.
But that was because I thought you... Oh, gosh, do you really?
Oh, yes, Johnny.
Will you marry me?
Right now?
Well, no, we can't right now. I got 3 years of college yet, but we'll get married right on the day I graduate. That is, if you'll wait for me. Will you wait, darling?
Oh, yes. Forever. But how about you, Johnny? Will you wait, too?
Yes, forever. I'll love you always and always. I can't live without you.
Oh, come on, Johnny. Let's get out of here.
What? Oh, come on, where?
Back to the path, of course.
Oh, yes. Yes, all right.
What's the matter, Johnny?
Huh?
You're so quiet. Didn't you like my show? Personally, I thought it was quite a touching little scene. All about love and eternity.
Oh, shut up.
There you go. Getting irritated again. After all, it was only make-believe. Like a movie.
7 years ago it wasn't.
Oh, yes. That was you up there on the terrace, wasn't it, Johnny? By the way, Johnny, what was that girl's name?
Her name was she... I don't remember.
After telling her you'd wait forever to. Couldn't live without her. And now you can't even remember.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk to you about anything. Then I seemed to hear this voice start calling again. Off there in the darkness. And I knew I was late.
Wait a minute. Slow up, Johnny. I've got another little show for you.
I'm not interested.
Oh, yes, you are. I'll bet you're interested in this one, all right.
Is she in it?
Who? Oh, no. It's strictly an all-male cast. Come on now. Right here, beside the path. Don't be afraid.
Will you stop saying I'm afraid? I tell you...
Quiet now. Here we are.
I was looking out across a lake. It was very familiar because it was a lake where I spent one whole summer about 5 years ago. I worked there as lifeguard during college vacation. The sun was shining down and the water rippled, and it was all very quiet and peaceful. Then I noticed the diving raft. It was just below the bushes where I was crouching, anchored a few feet out from the bank.
Johnny, see those two fellows on the raft?
Of course. Wait! The one with lifeguard on his swimming suit. That's me.
Well, so it is. And don't you recognize the other one?
Why, sure, that's Tommy. Good old Tommy Harper.
Quiet.
You asleep, Johnny?
Yeah. I was just thinking, that's all.
Waste of time to think. Too hot to think anyway.
No, not that kind of thinking. I was just remembering back. About what a swell summer it's been.
Yeah, no fooling.
I don't mind it being over, though. We're going to have plenty of fun up at school this fall, Tom.
Well, Johnny, I've been wanting
Boy, seniors. Seniors get away with murder. Yeah, and we got to be sure to get one of those big rooms together down on the Gold Coast.
Well, Johnny, I've been wanting to tell you, I'm not going back to school.
What are you talking about?
I'm just not going back to school, that's all. I'm going to work for Dad.
You crazy, Tom?
Nope, I gotta go to work. You see, Doris and I are going to get married next month.
Doris? Doris Milton?
Yeah, you know her?
Well, sure, I know her, all right.
What do you mean by that?
That's her. That's her name, Doris Milton.
Whose name, Johnny?
That girl. The one I couldn't remember. It was Doris Milton.
What of it? It was 2 years before this.
I did mean it, though. About waiting and...
Keep still and listen to this.
Oh, I didn't mean anything, Tommy. Just that I know her, that's all.
Well, that better be all. She's perfect.
Oh, sure, Tom. She's a swell kid.
There's nobody like her. I'm plenty lucky.
Sure you are, Tom.
Yeah, it's funny. Doris never mentioning that she knew you.
Well, it was 2 years ago, and I didn't know her very well. Haven't seen her for over a year, I guess.
Well, I know you can understand now why I'm not going back to school.
Oh, of course, Tom. It's not going to be the same, though, with you not there.
And I'll miss all that, too, Johnny. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth giving up anything for Doris.
As soon as I turned away from the lake, the sun was gone. Black shadows and silver moonlight were all around me again. And I was walking up the path toward the door.
Well, Johnny, is that what forever means to you? 2 years?
Skip it.
As a matter of fact, you forgot her in 6 months, didn't you? And when you found out she was going to marry your closest friend, all you felt was how much you were going to miss him.
Will you shut up? Shut up and leave me alone! I began to hurry, walk faster. There wasn't any use wasting time, and I wanted to escape from that voice, that cynical voice that wouldn't let me alone.
It's no use, Johnny. You can't get away from me.
All right. What do you want? I've looked at your little shadow plays, and they don't mean anything. Not a thing.
Don't mean anything. You're a most inappreciative audience, Johnny. Perhaps it's my choice of subjects. I've been rather easy on you. I think I could show you a scene that would mean something to you.
Never mind.
Yes. My little performances haven't impressed you. All right, then. How about this one?
There it was. A wall of stone stretching across the path in front of me, rising high above my head and losing itself in the darkness at either side. The moon cast a deep black shadow from it, and the cold, wet stones seemed to wink like eyes.
Afraid of it, Johnny?
Well, no, of course not.
Oh, come now. Aren't you just a little afraid of what you know is behind
No,
it?
I'm not.
All right.
I told you I...
All right. In that case, why don't we go over and take a look? to that little window there, with the iron bars.
Why, all right. Sure. I was looking through a high window, down into a prison cell, a barren, gloomy cell, with 4 damp stone walls and an iron door. In the wall across from me was another small, barred window, and out through it, I could see the night shadows in the trees. There was nothing in the room, save a hard wooden bench, and on it, a man sitting, slumped over, his face buried in his hands. Then these voices started up. They seemed to come from the window on the other side of the cell, from out in the woods somewhere. It was funny, though. I couldn't hear them from the woods around me, only from inside the cell. Yet all the time it seemed they came from outside somewhere. Strange. The man sitting on the bench lifted his head, listening. Then I saw that I myself was the man in the cell. Stop it. Shut up. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Jailer. Jailer, come here.
Did you call me?
Yes, I wanted to know what time it is.
I don't know.
Oh, I see. How long have I been here?
I don't remember.
Look, what I really called you about was those voices.
What voices?
Why, can't you hear? No. I don't hear them either now. But a little while ago I did.
I know. I hear them sometimes.
Can't I get out? Can't you let me out?
No. No, I couldn't do that.
Look, why do you wear that robe all of the time and that hood over your face? Who are you?
You don't remember?
No, I knew once. But I've forgotten.
Look.
Oh, yes. Evelyn. You're Evelyn.
Yes. I'm Evelyn.
How did I get here?
I don't remember. Something about the door, I think.
Why don't you let me out?
I'm sorry. I can't.
Yes, you could. If you wanted to, you could. You've got the keys. You could let me walk right out into the corridor there. Then I could go out in the woods. Out where the voices are.
No, you couldn't. Come here. Come here and look.
I don't see why Why it isn't. I thought it was a corridor. I thought you were the jailer, but it's not at all. It's just
another cell. My cell, Johnny, don't you see? There's no way out for either of us. I'm not your jailer. I'm your cellmate.
Now there was nothing around me but the forest. The forest and the darkness and the night breeze. And, of course, the path. It stretched out before me and melted into the black shadow ahead. I was all alone and trembling with terror. I wanted to run. I tried to run. All I could think of was getting away from there, getting on down the path, reaching the door. But no matter how hard I tried, no matter how fast I ran, the same bushes were at my side, the same trees overhead, the same black shadows across the path.
You're not making a great deal of progress, are you, Johnny?
What of it? I'll get there all right.
No, me. You certainly have a one-track mind.
Look, if you don't like where I'm going, why don't you beat it? You don't have to go along.
Oh, but I do.
Why? Why do you?
Where else could I go? You know, Johnny, I never saw a man in such a hurry to get a rope around his neck.
Don't say that.
Well, that's one way of putting it. I'll try to show you what I mean. Over there, against those bushes.
Don't bother.
No trouble at all. This is a pantomime. A silent picture, so to speak. Now, just to... there. There we are. Look, Johnny.
I'm not interested.
How can you tell when you haven't even looked? Now, I find this quite interesting. It shows a beautifully furnished bedroom with a man and woman in it. They're both middle-aged. The woman is lying on a chaise lounge. Seems to be asleep. And the man keeps pacing back and forth, looking out the window, then looking at the woman. He seems vaguely familiar. Now I wonder who he could be.
I know who it is. It's my father.
So you are looking. That's a rather bad guess, though. It's not your father. It's you.
What? It can't be. I'm not that old.
You will be. Time, you know, is only relative. I wonder why he keeps looking at the woman. Or why you do, if you'd like to put it that way.
Do you know who she is?
Of course. So do you.
Evelyn?
Naturally. Wonder what could be the matter with him. He certainly looks desperate. There he goes over to the fireplace. Now he's picking up the fire tongs and walking back toward the woman. Oh, I get it.
No, he can't.
Now he's lifting the tongs over his head. He's going to...
No! Don't do it! Stop!
There you go. Ruined it again. Popped it just like a bubble. Oh, why can't you learn to control yourself, Johnny?
He was going to kill her. I was going to kill Evelyn.
Does that disturb you so very much? It was only a shadow play, you know.
I don't want to see or hear anything else. I wish you'd get away from me.
Simply can't wait, can you?
I don't want anything more to do with you.
Why, Johnny? Why must you go on down the path?
Because there's something there I have to have.
So, there's something behind the door you have to have. All right. Fine. If it's doors you want, I'll give you doors. There. There's one. There's another. And there. And there. And there. 100 doors, all alike and all different. And you can reach out and touch any one of them. There's one of polished teak. And there's a classic Greek door. And one in red lacquer. And there's one
Wait. That red door. I know that one.
All right. Open it.
No.
Then I will.
Hello, Johnny. Like to dance with me?
Why, I guess so.
All right, then. Let's. Wasn't that fun, Johnny?
Yeah.
Well, so long, Johnny. That's all the time I have for you. Hello, Eddie.
How about a dance with me, honey?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, come on, honey. We're going to have fun. Come on.
Say, you're a good dancer. What's your name?
Never mind, honey. Just listen to the music. How can you dance if you don't listen to the music? Aren't we having fun, Johnny? Aren't we having fun, Johnny? Aren't we having fun?
Will you close that door?
No, Johnny. I find this quite amusing. Aren't we having fun, Johnny?
Well, I'll shut it! As hard as I could, down the path, through the shadows, under the trees, out of the woods. And then finally, I was standing in front of the door. This was where I'd been heading. This was the door at the end of the path. It was made of wood and finished in dull gray paint. A very ordinary door. But I was afraid of it. And I stood there, afraid to knock.
Better not do it, Johnny. This is your last chance. 100 voices saying no, and not one says yes.
Yes, there is. There must be. I do. I say yes.
But you're a fool, Johnny. Why do you have to go through that door? Why, Johnny? Why? Give me one reason.
I just can't seem to... There. There's your reason.
I don't believe I follow you.
Something inside of me saying knock, 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 knock.
What? That? Oh, Johnny. That's your heart beating. Your own heart, you fool.
Yes. Yes, it is. My heart. That's it. Of course it's my heart. What else could it be? There's my reason, and there's your answer. The voice of my own heart.
Wait. What are you doing?
I'm going to knock on the door.
Don't, you fool. Fool, 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 fool,
Johnny. What on earth are you doing here this time of night?
May I come in?
Well, of course, Johnny.
If it's not too late.
You know that doesn't make any difference, darling.
I've been walking in the park, Evelyn.
Yes?
Yeah, I've been walking in the park and thinking about us, I mean.
Yes, Johnny. Well, you've been walking in the park and thinking.
Well, not just thinking. I've made up my mind.
What about?
About us, don't you see? Oh, Evelyn, darling. I can't live without you.
Oh, Johnny. Is that what you've been thinking?
Yeah. About that and... a lot of other things that don't matter now. I mean, I'm sure now. And I know what I want. I've made up my mind. Well, what I'm trying to say is... Oh, Evelyn, darling. Will you marry me?
You've just heard the Columbia Workshop production of The Path and the Door, a first radio play by Les Crutchfield, with a special musical score, his first for radio, composed by George Antile. Johnny was played by Elliott Reed, and the rational voice by Jay Novello. Cy Feuer conducted the orchestra, and the production was directed for the Columbia Workshop by William N. Robeson. Because of Columbia's special broadcast of the Cleveland, Ohio air races next Sunday, there will be no workshop on that date. The Columbia Workshop will be heard from New York again the following Sunday, September 8th, when the return of Dr. Manger by Michael Brett will be presented under the direction of Larry Harding. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.